Nobody is ever likely to forget the Bayer Leverkusen side that so nearly went the entirety of the 2023-24 season unbeaten. After winning their maiden Bundesliga title at a canter, winning 28 and drawing 6 of their 34 matches, Xabi Alonso's team had every right to feel confident about their chances of winning the Europa League as well. However, a hat-trick from Ademola Lookman sentenced them to their first defeat of the season in their penultimate game of it, securing Atalanta their first ever European trophy. Despite that crushing blow in Dublin, Leverkusen responded 3 days later by beating FC Kaiserslautern 1-0 in the DFB Pokal final, meaning they ended the season with 43 victories and 2 trophies to their name. Alonso had suddenly become the most coveted coach in Europe. Leverkusen's success across all fronts last season was a team effort. Countless players produced the season of their careers, reflected by the fact 5 of them got into double figures for goals. One member of that quintet was former Manchester City Academy product Jeremy Frimpong, who scored 14 goals across all competitions. Only Florian Wirtz 18 and Victor Boniface 21 scored more than him. Arriving at Leverkusen from Celtic in January 2021, having played almost all of his senior football as a right-back, the prospect of getting into double figures in a single season must never have crossed the Netherlands international's mind. However, he was moulded into an attack-minded wing-back by Alonso. The 23-year-old has been transformed into one of the best wing-backs in the world under his coaching methods, just years after he was left wondering what the future would hold for him after being informed by City that he had no future at the Etihad Stadium. Speaking to Sport Bible earlier this year, Frimpong said, "I kept playing an age group down, and I think when I was under 23s at City, I remember going in for a new contract. And that's when I knew my path at City was different. They were talking about how I couldn't get into the team and were comparing me to other players in the academy that were doing better than me. I thought, yeah, I clearly don't have a future here, so I've got to take a different step. I remember going to that meeting and he was saying, you're too small and it'll be too physical. That's when I was thinking, where am I going to go? The answer was Celtic. He moved to the Glasgow club in September 2019, signing a 4-year deal. However, he made his mark so quickly in Scotland that he moved to Germany less than 2 years later, joining Leverkusen, who were under the stewardship of Peter Bosz at the time. It was under Alonso, appointed Leverkusen chief, in October 2022 that Frimpong started to blossom. He ended the 2022-23 season with 20 direct goal contributions to his name, 16 of which were registered after Alonso's appointment. The 2023-24 campaign, Alonso's first full season in charge, saw Frimpong reach loftier heights. In addition to his 14 goals, he also registered 12 assists, playing starring role in Leverkusen's league and cup double. However, long before that period in Frimpong's career, Manchester United had already touched base with his representatives, speaking to them ahead of the 2023 summer transfer window. United, as Frimpong's outstanding 2023-24 campaign unfolded, kept tabs on him and mulled over the prospect of moving for him in the 2024 summer window. Performing so well in Germany at the time, United supporters purred at the prospect of him being signed by Erik ten Hag. He was in the form of his life, cementing himself as the best wing-back in the world at that juncture. He reportedly had a £33.5 million release clause in his contract that would be active until mid-July. That made swooping for him ahead of this season all the more tempting. Of course, no move ever came to fruition, meaning Frimpong is still residing in Germany, continuing to play a key role for Leverkusen. In truth, signing the soon-to-be 24-year-old would have made little sense in the summer. United had made the decision to stick with Ten Hag, who played with a back four, and Frimpong is a wing-back. He would have been wasted as a natural right-back. However, had new United head coach Ruben Amorim been appointed in the summer, moving for Frimpong would have made every sense. The recently appointed 39-year-old, who will take charge of the Reds for the first time this weekend, is expected to implement his trademark 3-4-3 formation at Old Trafford. The system relies on wing-backs to provide width and support the attackers. Frimpong would be tailor-made for the role, such is the way Alonso has evolved his individual game in Germany. Not the strongest or most convincing defensively, he is much better when attacking, hence his tally of 26 direct goal contributions last season. When he goes forward, the right-sided centre-back slides across to cover any big gaps he leaves exposed. Kobbie Mainoo has said that Erik Ten Hag failed to make the 2023-24 season a success for Manchester United, despite winning the FA Cup. A product of the United Youth Academy, the 19-year-old midfielder enjoyed a breakthrough season with the Red Devils last term, racking up 24 appearances in the league, 6 in the FA Cup and 2 in the coveted Champions League. And while the Old Trafford elite were able to claim the FA Cup in May, with a shock 2-1 win over local rivals Manchester City, in which Mainoo scored the winning goal, he was not content with Ten Hag's offering over the course of the season. Speaking with GQ, Mainoo admitted that the FA Cup triumph certainly instilled hope in the players and fans of the club, but it definitely didn't make the season a success. He further explained, "I won't say it made the season a success for us as a team, but we definitely needed it. We couldn't go into the summer with nothing, just finishing where we finished in the table." Elsewhere in the interview, Mainoo noted how he is incredibly thankful that the club gave him a chance at such a young age, explaining, "I feel like at United it's very much in the history that they play young players, going all the way back to the Busby Babes. There's big writing up on the wall at Carrington, the training ground saying, if they're good enough, they're old enough." The midfield maestro, who was also a staple part of Gareth Southgate's England side at Euro 2024, also explained that nobody expected the Red Devils to win the FA Cup against Premier League champion City. He added, "I remember just the feeling around it was like no one expects us to win. They've just written us off. I used that as motivation." While winning the FA Cup is a huge achievement in itself, nonetheless beating Pep Guardiola's Citizens in the final, United suffered a lacklustre Premier League campaign across 2023-24. With a record of the 18th of June 14 to show for their endeavours, United finished a record low 8th in the Premier League standings, with a wealth of concern pertaining to if Ten Hag was the right man for the job. The former Ajax manager knew what he was up against in taking the job back in 2022, with no manager since the great Sir Alex Ferguson able to achieve league glory for United. David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had all tried and failed to bring feel-good fever back to Old Trafford, and Ten Hag's stint with the club ended in bitter fashion earlier this month. The mastermind was given a 2-year contract extension over the summer as Ineos put their faith in him once more. But he only lasted 3 months before he was given the boot. United currently languish in 13th place in the table with 11 games played, achieving just 4 wins, 3 draws and 4 defeats in the 2024-25 campaign thus far. Ruud van Nistelrooy stepped in as interim manager in the wake of Ten Hag's dismissal after a 2-1 defeat to West Ham last month, turning the tide slightly with a 3-0 win over Leicester and a 1 draw with an informed Chelsea, as well as Carabao Cup and Europa League victories at Old Trafford. New head coach Ruben Amorim will take charge of the side for the first time come Sunday afternoon, when United travel to Portman Road to take on a struggling Ipswich Town. The 39-year-old joins the Old Trafford elite after a 4-year stint with Sporting CP, in which he managed 2 Primera Liga and Taça de Liga titles apiece. It will be interesting to see if Amorim is the man to bring success back to the Northwest outfit.